They're going to set up in the other room to see
Okay.
if it's actually streaming.
It's going. Patrick? Okay, I can see it.
Okay.
So,
Oh, that's interesting.
okay. Yeah.
That was unexpected. It is on Facebook. It is
Okay,
not on YouTube, but I think that's as good as we're gonna
okay.
get.
I would like to call the November meeting of the University City Library Board of Trustees to order. Cindy, would you please call the roll?
Sure. Mark Barnes. Oh, you're muted, Mark.
Aye, here.
I know Kim Diesler is out of town. Aaron Ginsberg. Here. Joan Greco Cohen. Here. Latrice Johnson. Gerald Lander.
Here.
Helen Nelling.
Here.
Kathleen Simpson. And Cindy Zerwas here.
Okay,
I do see Latrice on the
yeah,
screen
Latrice is,
has rejoined.
her screen is there.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay. Patrick, is there any public comment?
There is none. that I've
Okay.
heard.
The next order of business is approval of the minutes from our October 12th meeting. Does anyone have any additions or corrections to the minutes?
No,
And in that case, may I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
second,
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes of the meeting of October 12th. Cindy, could you please?
sure. Mark Barnes,
Aye.
Aaron Ginsberg,
Aye.
Joan Greco Cohen,
Yes.
Latrice Johnson.
Here.
We're approving the minutes.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
say yes.
Yes.
Gerald Lander,
Yes, aye.
Helen Nelling,
Yes,
Kathleen Simpson,
Yes.
and Cindy Zerwas, yes.
okay, the minutes have been approved. The next item is correspondence. Do we have any correspondence?
The items I sent with the packet, the donation from the estate of Rochelle Harris. We received 2 checks from the state, one for 2 grants that we had payments for. And then the state aid today, and then the Memorial Day run that's sent us by me sending it to us, the $8,800.
Okay, and I will be sending a note to the representative of the Harris estate, thanking them for that donation. Mr. Clay, what can you do to enlighten us this evening?
Yes, well, hopefully something. Good evening, everyone. I think the biggest item I have to share is there was an opening of a store, a small little store, a quaint mom and pop operation. out by Olive and 170. No, of course, I'm talking about Costco. Opened, I think, 2 weeks ago. And so we were very excited about that and getting that off the ground. So we are continuing to have interest in various developments in that area. Some of you may have seen that there are plans for a couple of chicken restaurants, also as I'm saying this, I think it was public at Deerberg's.
Yes.
Yes. 'Cause some things I know that aren't public yet, but okay. Deerberg's is looking into inhabiting that south side, so we're working with them. So good progress to report on the kinds of businesses that are interested in joining markets at Olive. In terms of other council business, it has been fairly light. One of the things that is happening, I will mention, that is related to Costco is the Third Ward Revitalization Task Force has been meeting. So that's something that the council was and the community thought was very important to a panel. So they've had a few meetings. They're still getting themselves organized. And this is this task force, and the idea behind this task force is very new. So we're still kind of figuring out the best way for them to work. But they are meeting. And really their purpose is to determine among the best uses for the $10 million that come from the Costco development. Those are funds that have been set aside for use within the Third Ward, particularly for residential purposes. There's another $5 million that's been set aside for the Olive Business District that our business owners will have input in determining how that gets used, but our focus has really been on our residents. So that task force is up and running. Let me go ahead and take questions about any other matters that folks may have questions about.
I have a
I
question.
have one.
Yes.
Our library is obviously in the Loop area. And does the city have any plans to do something about all the vacant stores in the Loop? I mean, between the trolley and the pandemic, there's a huge number of empty stores down there. I mean, it looks like it's a safe area. It doesn't look like it has nearly the high traffic that it used to, but I think a number of people have brought up the fact that it looks deserted.
Yeah, the vacancies are certainly a concern for a variety of reasons. So the city's role in it is kind of complicated because, as you know, these buildings are owned by individuals in those spaces. And one of the conversations we've been having is about, in some ways, addressing the realities associated with the rent that's charged within the Loop. It is very much a desirable spot, and so I never want to diminish that. But if we look at the history of the Loop, 15, 20 years ago, it was truly a unique entertainment space. With the rise of Maplewood, with the rise of other unique streets in the metropolitan area, the Loop is not quite as unique as it used to be. And so therefore, I think there has to be a reexamination of the rent that is charged. So we've been having those conversations with some of the business owners about, what can the city do to support you? Extended free parking. We've, cut off the meters. That's an easy thing that we can do. I mean, we do lose revenue as a result, but that's an easy thing that we can do to support businesses. If there are other things like that, we're in conversation with the Loop Special Business District. Let us know, and we can support that. But in my estimation, it seems one of the central issues is how you navigate rent and what is charged. And we certainly understand building owners have expenses. I mean, they need to cover certain costs. And so you can't give away the space. We understand that, but is what you're charging what the market will bear?
Gotcha. Okay, well, thank you.
So don't have a great answer for you, but
Mr. Clay, I have a question. At our last meeting, you discussed the possibility of Chick-fil-A being in the Costco development area.
Mhm.
Has any, and the concerns our community might have with Chick-fil-A. Has any decision been made about that?
certainly not anything close to a final decision. They have submitted plans for review. I don't believe any decision has been made as to them going forward. I mean, certainly there'll be a process in which the public will be invited to comment about their feelings on it, but nothing has advanced in any material way since I last presented.
I was at the Costco yesterday. It seemed to be busy, although that parking lot is the size of Cincinnati.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I assume that they expect like at holiday time that lot will be filled, but it did, the store itself did seem to be busy. Any reaction from them about how UCity has reacted to the opening?
Yeah. So just anecdotally, I have seen, I was heading northbound on 170 Sunday, and there wasn't a spot that I could see, and I was quickly driving by. I think weekends are really their prime time. I think, 10 o'clock on a Tuesday morning, I think to your point, you're going to have a half full lot. But boy, you hit Saturday at 11:30 a.m. I mean, it's Katie bar the door. It's going to be, it's going to be on. So I think it fluctuates. I think they've been very pleased with the initial numbers. Part of the play with Costco, of course, is a draw beyond University City. So it's if you look at that exit on 170, I mean, you see lots of cars coming off, and that was the idea, because this is a sales tax play, and so we want folks from outside of the community paying that sales tax and contributing to the city's coffers. So, anecdotally, I've heard that they've been pleased with the opening. One of my colleagues did ask about, do we have some numbers? Because we'll start, receiving revenue, here in relatively short order. So we'll be able to get a better sense. We haven't gotten anything yet, but we'll be able to get a better sense of what it's actually looking like.
Will they be able to tell us how many of the employees of that store are UCity residents?
That was asked before, and I think that they can. Yes, I think they can. I need to follow up on that, because that was a question that one of my colleagues has, and candidly, I'm not sure if we got an answer to it. So, Patrick, I can work with, or Director Wall, I can work with you as we have in the past on if there are any follow-up questions from the board, making sure that we get answers to them.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there any follow-up? I think at the last meeting, it was discussed that the old Commerce Bank building in the Loop, that the redevelopment project for that had fallen through. Have any other projects been brought forward?
Not that I'm aware of. Nothing that's risen to the council level. There certainly could be conversations between the realtor and potential buyers, but nothing concrete enough to rise up to a plan commission or anything like that.
Okay, I was just curious if you'd heard anything.
I have not.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Clay? Okay, then let's move on to the librarian's report. I'd like to make give an explanation. We're going to ask Patrick to divide his report into two sections. Or do you want to delay the entire report until discussion items?
I mean, I think consent agenda, then to
Okay.
discussion items, then.
Okay, and then, all right, what, okay. Pay no attention to what I just said. I am saying now that the librarian's report will be delayed until after the consent agenda. Okay. Can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the consent agenda.
Second,
that. Okay, sorry.
Cindy, can you call the roll?
sure. Mark Barnes.
Can you just tell us where that is?
Aye.
Oh, pardon me. There's a question.
It's-
Sorry,
Pages 4
and mostly 5,
and 5.
down to the discussion item.
Yeah, and then also farther back in your packet where the financials are also a part of the consent agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, okay, Cindy,
Mark Barnes,
Aye.
Aaron Ginsberg,
Aye.
Joan Greco Cohen,
Aye.
Latrice Johnson,
Aye.
Gerald Lander,
Aye.
Helen Nelling,
aye.
Kathleen Simpson,
Aye.
and Cindy Zerwas, aye.
Thank you. The consent agenda is approved. Under discussion items, the first discussion items is about engaging an auditor. And Patrick and I have decided that we would like the board to approve this since some of the procedures for this are changed. Gerald, would you like to explain that the recommendation from the Finance Committee on this issue?
I think that's Aaron, but if she doesn't want to do it,
Oh, I'm sorry,
Go ahead,
Aaron.
I actually,
I know, blast from the past.
yeah,
I'm sorry, Aaron.
the Budget and Finance Committee is recommending that Eaglemeyer provide the library with an audit on a modified cash basis for approximately $7,000. Gilmore and Bell have indicated that this, along with a note explaining the reason for the change in auditing method, would satisfy the requirements of our COP contract, and several other municipal libraries are using Eaglemeyer for their audits. And
Yeah,
plus it's like
Eaglemeyer.
$8,000.
Yeah, the full title of the firm is Fick, Eggenmeyer and Williamson.
I'm sorry, yes.
And Patrick did say that he had contacted these other libraries who've used them and they've been satisfied with their work.
Yes.
And previously the audit has been on an accrual basis. And that's one reason I think the board should approve this change, even though the cost is below our approval threshold. Want to make sure that we're all in sync on moving forward using a modified cash basis. Is there any discussion about this issue? Does anyone?
And just for the full board, to know, we reached out to 3 auditing firms, accounting firms. Sikich would be charging us $15,000 for an accrual audit. Showalter and Jabouri indicated they would not be able to do the audit in a timely manner. This, with this late notice. And then Fick, Eggemeyer and Williamson said that they could do this. Sorry.
What is late notice?
Normally we'd be early in the year reaching out to them to do that fiscal year's audit. We just found out last month from Sikich that we wouldn't be included as part of the city's audit. So we were left sort of scrambling. We've traditionally been just done as a component unit of the city of University City. This will be the first year in forever that we wouldn't be doing that. And as I said, we just had late September, early October, found this out. Reached out to 3 auditing firms and have just gotten, proposals or lack of proposals from the 3 of them.
So going
Fortunately-
forward, we'll be doing our own audits, you think, Patrick?
That seems to
Yes.
be the way that it's gonna be. Yeah, we'll send out a request for, proposals, from, auditors. Mr. Clay?
Oh, just had a quick question, Director. So was there a reason given for that? Was there, I think you may have articulated this before, but.
Yes, Sikich told the city, as they had told other municipalities, that they could no longer do libraries as component units because of changes to GASB.
Okay, that's
government
right. That's
accounting
right.
standards.
Okay, that's right.
But
That's right.
Vic
Okay.
Eggemeyer disagrees, but that's where we are.
Okay.
And we're fortunate that the least expensive firm is the firm that most of the other municipal consortium members use and are pleased with.
Yes.
If there's no other discussion, could I have a motion to approve the assignment of auditor as well as the change from an accrual to a cash basis? Motion?
Approval.
Yeah, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second,
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded that the board approve Fick, Eggenmeyer, and Williamson as the library's auditors for this fiscal year, and that audit be done on a cash rather than an accrual basis. Is there any other discussion? Okay, Cindy, would you call the roll, please?
Mark Barnes,
Aye.
Aaron Ginsberg,
Aye.
Joan Greco Cohen,
Aye.
Latrice Johnson. Aye. Gerald Lander,
Aye.
Helen Nelling,
Aye.
Kathleen Simpson,
Aye.
and Cindy Zerwas, aye.
Okay, the motion is approved and Patrick will contact Fick and Eggenmeyer to start the process. The next discussion item is Patrick's report on the progress on the building, and then there will be some action items for approval concerning the building.
The big news is that the rooftop units, the HVAC units were installed today. They brought the giant crane out and got both of these rather large HVAC units onto the roof of the building. Seeing the curve for the transformers and been installed. The transformer itself won't be in until December. They're planning on dumping the gravel and grading the parking lot tomorrow, and I guess on Friday, and then sometime shortly thereafter, we're not sure when, what with some expected freezes coming up, the asphalt to be done. So the parking lot will be done hopefully before December. It's a little later than they had planned, but there were some unexpected heavy rainfalls and then also a couple of scheduling problems. Carrie, was there anything else on the parking lot or the HVAC stuff that I'm forgetting? I know I forgot to ask you in the earlier meeting.
The paving gets done in December, I believe.
I think they're hoping to get it done before December. And we have heard a couple of things back and forth on that. But we'll be meeting next week with Ranieri and with Bond.
It's good because we have multiple days where snow is in the forecast.
I
between
know,
now-
that's surprising.
Yes, it is.
And I drove to this meeting with my top down.
So
Okay.
the first half of November was very different from the second half of November.
Yeah. Yeah, and as you can see from the payment request, they've gotten a lot of work done in the last month. And there's still, there's just a ton of people working over there. It's looking more and more like a finished building every day, though still a long way to go. We're gonna have some issues with the gallery walls where they'll have to be, they were drywalled and they're gonna have to be re-plywooded and then some sort of fabric put over there, like a burlap. So that we can hang, everything from large scale paintings and frames to children's artwork, just, on paper. And the whole variety of the gallery exhibits during the course of a year. The plywood and fabric was last redone on the walls that remain about 20 years ago, and it lasts a good long time. So we're hoping that we'll get a lot of use out of the new fabric being put on there.
Great.
Okay, so we have a payment request from Ranieri.
A couple more things just about the building thing, just along with there. The RT units have been placed on the roof, they're in place. The curb for the electrical transformer is done. And we're still awaiting the breakers.
Yes, that is
Which I
gonna
think
be
is
a big
important
deal.
for us.
We're hoping that at next Wednesday's meeting, we hear that, all the breakers are in and they can start building the panels. But so far, I think they've got what seems to me like 4 out of the 6. And the 2 that are remaining are the 2 main panels that they're still waiting on the breakers to come in. So that's it's a little worrisome.
Yep. Okay, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Okay, you have in your packet somehow, the the,
Change order starts on. page-
no, the
Oh,
bill
the
from
payment.
Ranieri.
That one was not in there. I sent that separately.
Yeah.
We had not received that by the time the pack went out. I apologize.
It is
I can put that
for,
up on the screen here.
yeah. You did receive it by email. And the total is 400 and,
That's not it.
uh,
No, 854,000.
that's right, 854. Did,
It's in the very first item sent with the original mailing.
So here's another version of it, 854,000. Is this on your screen now?
yeah,
No,
No, I have a,
Okay, I'm gonna
Okay.
bring it up
Menu list.
again.
all right,
There we go.
is it there? Can you
It's
see
coming.
that's it, that's it.
There it is.
it? Okay. It's, $854,536.07. Both the Finance Committee and the Building and Grounds Committee have recommended in their committee meetings that the board approve this invoice. Patrick, I believe Bond has vetted this invoice.
This is not the signed copy. We do have a signed copy in hand.
And you have done the prevailing wage analysis.
Yes.
Is there any discussion? Could I have a motion to approve this invoice?
I would move that we approve this invoice for $854,536.07.
I'll second that.
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded to approve this invoice. If there is no further discussion, Cindy, would you call the roll?
sure. Mark Barnes,
Aye.
Aaron Ginsberg,
Aye.
Joan Greco Cohen,
Aye.
Latrice Johnson,
Aye.
Gerald Lander,
Aye.
Helen Nelling,
Aye.
Kathleen Simpson,
Aye.
and Cindy Zerwas, aye.
Okay, the motion is approved. Patrick, you can write that great big check.
Yeah.
The second action item is, there are several proposed change orders, but only one of them is large enough to require board approval. And this is the change order concerning the ceiling over the circulation desk with the slatted wood. You may recall in our last meeting, we discussed that once again, when they tore apart the old stuff, it wasn't as it appeared in the as-built, and the way it was installed does no longer meet code, may never have met code.
Yeah.
Right.
So while this was the change order as originally proposed was a little more money, but we got it down a couple $1,000s. Both the finance committee and the building and grounds committee have approved or have recommended that the board approve this change order so that we can have a ceiling over our circulation desk that is attractive, functional, and won't fall down. Is there any discussion? Can I have a motion to approve this change order?
I would like to make a motion that we approve change order PFCO 20 CF 23 for the entryway ceiling for $43,276.38.
I'll second that.
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded to approve this change order. Is there any further discussion? Cindy, would you call the roll?
Mark Barnes,
Aye.
Aaron Ginsberg,
Aye.
Joan Greco Cohen,
Aye.
Latrice Johnson,
Aye.
Gerald Lander,
Aye.
Helen Nelling,
Aye.
Kathleen Simpson, and Cindy Zerwas, aye.
And the change order is approved. Our next discussion is about the Secretary of State's proposed administrative rules for libraries. What I would like to do here, because this is a very intense issue that I'm sure we all have opinions on, but we're on a short timeline tonight. So I'm going to ask Patrick to review the proposed administrative rule, the discussions he's had with other libraries and library associations. And then then I would like to propose a way to move forward. Okay.
What's in the packet?
Where do you want them to look?
I'm gonna bring that up here. I'm sorry.
Okay. I believe it starts on page 30.
33.
Page, yes, if you want to access, it's at page 33 of your packet.
Here it is. So here's the proposed rule. No funds received shall be used to purchase or acquire materials in any form that appeal to the prurient interest of any minor is a major sticking point. No person employed or acting on behalf of the library shall knowingly grant access to any minor, any material in any form not approved by the minor's parents or guardian is what we would call an undue, something that cannot be done. Unless we're, checking through the entire collection for, everything and then running it by every parent. The policies that the rule calls for, we already have in place, and we don't see a reason for the Secretary of State to be, stepping into the board's policymaking sort of purview. We've had a lot of discussions about this. I'm on a committee with the Missouri Public Library Directors. We've met a couple times about this. The directors of a whole have met with this. The state librarian, we've met with her. I had a chance to talk to the Secretary of State last week. you know, he's pretty adamant about this. He has asked us to give constructive criticism to help us build this rule. I countered with, I don't think that this rule is in any way necessary because our library, as many libraries in the state, trust the parents to have the discussions with their children and to, you know, in the family decide what the child, you know, what the child's reading level is and what the appropriate reading is for the child. You know, we don't believe that any child in the state of Missouri has been harmed by a library book on display in the collection. We think there's no reason for this rule. There probably will be a rule. There's a public comment period that starts on the 15th of this month and runs for 30 days. We'd like, and Helen and I have talked about, you know, having a committee, an ad hoc committee sort of come together and come up with a resolution that the library board could endorse. And as Helen said, because of the timeline, we were thinking perhaps ad hoc committee and then send it out by email to the board to see if the board, you know, has suggestions or approves.
So what I would like, unless there's objection, what I would like to do is appoint an ad hoc committee that includes Patrick, myself, if he would like to add us another staff member. I would ask Cindy Zerwis to be on the committee. I would also ask Jerry Lander to be on the committee. And if anyone else wants to join us, that's fine. But I would like to keep it small so that we can, at a not in this meeting, develop a resolution for the board, and then we'll send the resolution around by email for approval. I would also then at that time ask our individual board members to also make an individual comment as a resident of the state of Missouri. And we're also going to work closely with Mr. Clay and the council to see if they too would assist us in making sure that our voices are heard on this topic. And if you don't want, as we get the ad hoc committee together, which I'm envisioning would meet next week, if you just want to send your thoughts to me, if you're not on the committee, so that we can include those in our discussion. Is this a plan that meets with everyone's informal approval?
It's a good idea.
Yes, and I've spoken with Director Wall. Excuse me. I and my, I believe my colleague, Councilmember Klein, will be working on this. So clearly, I don't speak for the entirety of the council, but I feel pretty safe in saying that the council would be supportive of this, and we want to do whatever we can to help advance library and intellectual freedom. So,
Thank you. Okay, I'll ask Patrick to get Jerry and Cindy and whoever Patrick wants from the staff together probably next week. And I would, if at all possible, I'd like to do that in person because brainstorming works better in person.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. Okay, then moving on, I just gave my report. Are there additional reports from the committees? Mark, or is he gone? He's gone.
No, I'm still here.
Oh, you're here.
I'm sitting in the dark next to my house, but
Oh,
I'm still
dear.
here.
Oh, dear. Okay. Do you have a report from on long-range planning?
I do not, other than once again, I plan on trying to get a chance to visit with Patrick and set up a time that we can meet together and do some discussions and then and continue from there. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Cindy, Personnel and Policy.
The Personnel and Policy Committee met last Tuesday, November 2nd. I think maybe it was Wednesday, confused. We discussed this proposed administrative rule that the Secretary has proposed, and we at that time decided to just pause until Patrick had met with some of the other colleagues in the state and some of the people he mentioned in his review. And we would heartily encourage all members of the board to write individual comment once a resolution is proposed by the ad hoc committee.
Thank you. Budget and Finance. Any additional information?
Everything we talked about in our committee meeting has been already discussed in tonight's
Okay.
full board meeting.
Building and Grounds, anything else?
I would say the same thing Aaron said. I think everything we talked about was discussed under the, Patrick went over already pretty well in detail.
Okay. I'd like to thank all the committees for everything they're doing. We have a lot of balls in the air, so I really appreciate your work. Is there any old business? Is there any new business? Can I have a motion to adjourn? Aaron has made a motion to adjourn. We're adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Good night.